Hey guys, Mr. Ironies here today, and I figured I would put in my 2 cents on the update that's coming through. So, I'm going to talk about just a few of the different weapons and a few of the different perks that have really stuck out to me the most. So, let's talk about a few of them. So, we have the auto rifles. Not a whole lot has happened to them. The middle rate of fire auto rifles. Um, the damage was increased by 1.5 with that, 1.5%. It's not too bad. Give a little bit buff for those auto rifles. The thing that sticks out the most with auto rifles is the high rate of fire is like the Doctrine of Passing, the Soul Stealer's Claw, the magazine size have all been reduced. How much it's reduced, it's hard to tell right now, but they're trying to make it where it's a little bit easier for other Guardians to have a chance to take those guys out instead of the high rate of fire auto rifles dominating the Crucible. So let's talk about the sniper rifles next. The sniper rifles are taking a hard hit because they're trying to bring them back down to where you can actually compete with the guys that are trying to snipe you. Damage has been reduced on the middle high impact, like the 1,000-yard stairs sniper rifles, by 6.95%, and that's a pretty good bit. That means that they're not going to be able to kill high armor Guardians in a super anymore. It's going to take 2 shots to take them down instead of just a 1. There's one that's not affected by this reduction, and that's the No Land Beyond. It hasn't been affected by that. The one thing that's a lot of people's really not going to like is going to be the LDR 5001s and everybody's favorite, the longbow synthesis. The target acquisition has been reduced. It's been reduced to bring it in line with the other snipers. Now, if you look at the stats of those, that's almost 5 to 10 points, depending on what sniper you're looking at. So it's going to be brought down a good bit, so you can't just do those real hard trick shots like you was able to do before without a little bit more skill to do it. So another thing that's going on that's not going to be very good for the snipers is from now on, the guys that have a primary trying to challenge a sniper will now be able to take the sniper and make him flinch more. It makes it harder for him to lock onto your noggin whenever he's trying to shoot you in the face. So the flinch goes from 30%, so it starts at 50%, and with every hit after that, it will increase until it hits 100%. By that time, you're going to be able to take that sniper out before he has a chance to lock onto you. So that way, you're going to be able to go in more with the snipers and challenge them and actually come out on top a little bit easier than you were before. So overall, sniper aim deflection multiplier has been increased to 1.9. That goes up from 1.8, so it's about a 0.05 to a 1% multiplier with aim deflection. So that's what's going on with the sniper rifles. A big thing that's Rise of Iron is bringing us to some different sidearms, so they're focusing a little bit more on sidearms than they did in year 2. So unified damage for all sidearm types. What that is basically there's an increased damage across all of the different sidearms that they have, but the Hake sidearm family has an increased damage than what they had, by 3% for the low rate of fires and 7% for the high rate of fires. So if you like to use that type of sidearm, you're going to actually have a better damage than you had when you first started. So also there's been a decreased damage for the non-Hake sidearms by 5% for the Vestian dynasties, the Queen's Choice, those types of sidearms. There's also been an extension of damage fall-off points. So what that means is basically you're able to shoot a little bit further before the fall-off of the sidearm damage starts. So you're going to actually go another half a meter before you start getting this fall off of damage. There's also been a minor increase to the stability across the board, so you're going to have a little bit more stable sidearm. There's been a added damage bonus to PvE of 20 to 30% depending on your combat tier. So think about that. If you were doing 150 damage to start with on something, or if you're doing 1,000 damage, let's say 1,000 damage on a small regular red bar enemy. If you're doing 1,000 damage, 20% of 1,000 is 200. So you're actually going to be doing 1,200 instead of 1,000. That's a pretty good bit. I mean, that's a good little chunk. So to accommodate for the 2 new fast firing sidearm families that Rise of Iron is releasing out, the rate of fire bars will be a little bit shorter. That way they can show a more accurate representation of how much there is of the rate of fire. So it doesn't change the fire rate at all. Basically, if it's just shorter, it just gives a little bit more room to be able to show you the rate of fire and have it a little bit more accurate. So let's go on to one of my favorites, fusion rifles. I love a fusion rifle. So the fusion rifles didn't really get a whole lot. The biggest thing that it did for the fusion rifles was there was some small bugs with the stats, what they showed, not what they did, but what they showed, just a visual representation of what they do. They're going to be updated to be more accurate than they were. So there's actually no buffs, no nerfs or anything going on with the fusion rifles. They're going to be just like they were. Rocket launchers took a little bit of a different one. So there's an extended damage fall off on cluster bomb perks. Basically what that means is, before, when the cluster bomb went, everybody knows that the cluster bomb wasn't that reliable. You can be just a little bit off on the cluster bomb and it wouldn't do any damage. So what it's going to do is it's going to be able to pull off shooting the enemy, and then it's going to be a larger radius, a larger damage for the cluster bombs. So you're going to be able to actually hit the cluster bombs more reliably than they were. But with that, they're going to take the grenades and horseshoes perk, they're going to reduce it by 1 meter. So you've got a little bit of trade-off there. You're going to have better cluster bombs, but the grenade and horseshoe perk, where it explodes in proximity of a target, it's going to be reduced a little bit, so it won't proc as much as it usually does. Now, the truth is not affected by this. The truth still has what it always has. It's not going to be any different. So next, machine guns. Increased damage on the highest rate of machine guns has been increased by 4%. So if you like to take those high rate of fire machine guns into the crucible and melt people's faces off, well, you got a little bit more damage to do now. So you might get 3 extra rounds in the chamber to be able to take out just a couple more guardians. There you go. As far as the weapon perks go, magazine perks actually give bonuses now. So like, say, armor piercing rounds, high caliber rounds, skip rounds, things like that, they actually add range bonuses and actually reduces handling. Like the armor piercing round adds 4 range and takes away 4 handling. High caliber rounds adds 3 range, takes away 5 handling. And the skip rounds, which kind of seemed pointless before, actually will give you 5 range, 3 handling, and give you 5 more rounds in inventory. So that's going to be a little bit different to kind of for what we had, but really didn't do a whole lot of. So maybe that's going to be a little bit better than it was. So the next thing that we have is Take a Knee. Take a Knee was pretty nice. So now Take a Knee is going to activate after half a second of crouching. And your flinch reduction is going to be 25%, and you're going to be able to aim down sights 25% faster than you were. So basically, you're not going to flinch as much when you get hit, and you're going to be able to aim down the sights a little bit faster. Now, in PvP, you know that small little bit of time will actually mean life or death, whether you get taken out or you take the other guy out. So that little extra time could help out. It soon adds an extra 5 seconds to the effect time, so that brings it up to 15, so that helps out a little bit. Cascade is kind of neat. It's going to be able to automatically reload a portion of your magazine. Guerrilla Fighter is going to be a little bit different now. You're going to have increased stability and range by 200%. It's kind of like a bonus hammer forge and perfect balance when it activates. So if you get behind a barrier and just pop your little head out to shoot the enemy, you're going to have a little bit better stability and range whenever you do that. So this may actually be kind of one of those perks that wasn't that good before, but now it's going to be something that really need to start looking at. Firefly, of course, has always been great. It's not really changing, but there was a crash that happened with the special effects when the Firefly perked, so they were able to they possibly fixed that, hopefully. Now, as far as the weapons go, there's been a few weapons that has a little bit of a change. The one that kind of caught my attention really the most probably was the Fabian Strategy. Now, I like a Titan. Titans are pretty fun. The Fabian Strategy was an okay rifle, auto rifle, but it never was that good. But now with the Fabian Strategy, every kill of this weapon is going to automatically load a portion of the magazine. So think about it. If you have 7 or 8 red bar enemies right there in front of you, and you take the Fabian Strategy with your Titan, and you just start laying down the trigger, and you start killing them guys, you're going to be able to just hold on to that. It's kind of like a mini super good advice. Not quite as good, but you're not going to have to reload nearly as much. The range, the base range has been increased by 16% and the stability by 44%. So there's going to be a good bit of good stuff going on with the Fabian Strategy. You're just going to have to play with it, see if it does any different. The universal remote also took a little bit of a hit when on this one, because everybody knows you go into the Crucible. You got these Titans running around with the Juggernaut and sliding in and then shooting you in the face with a universal remote. So the exotic perk range has been reduced by 75%, so you're not guaranteed a maximum shotgun range. So that's going to help out a lot to actually take these guys out. There's been an increased rate of fire, but there's a decreased damage with an increased rate of fire. So the rate of fire is going to be better, but the damage is going to be lower for the universal remote. And everybody's favorite that was looking forward to coming out, you had the Thorn. So the Thorn, you actually isn't going to change much, but according to Bungie for right now, they're going to take the base range and reduce it by 25%. They don't want the Thorn to come back and rule the Crucible like it did in year 1. And I kind of understand that. Now, Drake's Promise took a little bit of a buff also. Damage was increased by 8%, and the magazine size was actually increased by 3. So you'll be able to get another burst with that. So there you go with that. Now, another one that kind of took a big hit was the Touch of Malice. The Touch of Malice was kind of one of those weapons that we love to use, and you could kind of make it to where you could take 2 or 3 Titans and use the Touch of Malice and just start jumping in and out of Blessings of Light. And you was able to use it a lot. But now the self-damage infliction on the Touch of Malice will take off the Blessings of Light. And that's kind of crazy. They made it to where you're not going to be able to go through and just melt bosses anymore with a Touch of Malice. So a couple of other ones, no time to explain. Actually got a Head Seeker perk. Bowling Gemini got high caliber rounds. So you have some pretty good stuff going on with this. You got a few little nerfs going on. I'm personally really excited about it. I can't wait for it to come out, and it's going to be great. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys watching, and leave in the comments what you think about everything. I'll talk to you later. Can't wait to see you again. This is Irronies. Have a great day.